everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Live Laugh Loans. I'm Myra Talley.
And I'm Shelly Panzarella, and we're on episode
number 7.
Yay, lucky 7. Let's do it.
Yes, we have a lot of great information for you today. I would say let's just get right into it and start with the Fed Fund meeting that they had yesterday.
Yeah, that was, I think it was anticipated, right? Everybody obviously knew when the Federal Reserve was going to speak and what they were going to do. I think there were thoughts of 75 to 100, and they came out in...
I think we mentioned on our last episode that there was rumor that had been released that they were in fact going with 75 basis point hike. But obviously, other people were saying other things, but that was in fact true.
Yeah. And I think for them, I think what's more alarming, because obviously we'll talk a little bit about what that does to our mortgage rates. But it seems like they're pretty certain that they are going to increase the rates on the next 2 meetings as well, which will be, I wrote that down, I think it was like November. The next one is November 1st or 2nd, and then December 13th. So we have 2 more opportunities, and it sounds like they're saying between 1 to 1.25 increase. So whether it's like 75.50 or 75 and 25, right, we are going to definitely see more increases.
And just for anybody who doesn't know, do you want to kind of go into a little bit as to why they're raising the Fed fund rate, what their hope is to do by doing so?
Well, they're trying to curb inflation, right? So they're trying to get us to slow down on our spending, which it's not working. You know what I mean? Because it's just all the indicators are showing that it's a fraction of a decrease, which they've done 4, now 5 increases, and we're not seeing the amount of decrease to the inflation that they had anticipated.
Right.
So it's a slow decline.
Yeah. And I kind of mentioned this, we were talking the other day, and I think one of the reasons why this is not happening as quickly as they thought is, we went from a market where everybody's credit got so much better. Nobody had credit card debt.
They had savings.
They had savings in their account. Now people are going through they're still spending, but now they're going through their savings. They're racking up credit card debt, and we're seeing credit scores as we pull in applications. They're starting to go down, where like last year, a few months ago, we were seeing great credit scores.
Yeah, from our buyers who we refinanced last year, right?
Yes.
They're reaching back out, asking about where rates are and maybe seeing what they can do because of some of their credit card debts, what they can actually do to help to consolidate those. So you're absolutely right. And I think some of that, in conjunction with what's happening with the federal fund rates, is going to slow us down. It's going to slow the economy down.
Well, credit limits will eventually run out. Savings will eventually run out. So we, as humans, we have to just slow our spending. But it's so hard too. If we're going to the grocery store and everything's more, and we're like, well, we need it. I'm just going to charge it. But eventually, you run out of space on your credit card,
right? Yeah, and rumor has it that gas prices actually came down a little bit. Is that true? Have you seen a decrease in? I know you're 50-50 on gas.
Yeah, I thought they went up though.
Did they?
I mean,
okay.
I just filled my car with gas 2 days ago,
and it was
more expensive than I paid 2 weeks ago.
So do you think that that's a result of the Fed fund rate? Or does it have something to do with something different? Probably.
I think it's different, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think that's called the gas line and all of that good stuff. So what are your thoughts then? If we have rates that are going to be going up by the end of the year, what are you thinking? Do you think that we'll actually make a dent in inflation with that?
I do. Well, I guess that's a hard question, just because, yes, I do think that we are going to see a dent, but at the same time, we have holiday season coming up.
Yeah.
Like, Halloween, people are going to go and spend on candy, decorations. I feel like as years go by, people get more and more enthused with Halloween and decorations and haunted houses and all this stuff. So there's a lot of money that's out there to be spent. And then you have Thanksgiving and travel and Christmas and gifts and stuff. Yeah. And people are, whether they have money or not, they still try to give all of their loved ones gifts. So I don't know that we'll see too much of a curb in numbers
this year,
correct,
through the end of the year, so and probably beginning of the next year. Yeah, and I think that's where they're saying the recession's going to come into place. And so at that point, that's when everybody is saying you might see an increase or decrease in interest rates at that point, because once it slows down.
Can we skip to the good part?
Exactly. Yes. I love that. Right? We're all waiting for that day.
Yes.
Speaking of which, we probably just need to rip the Band-Aid off and talk about interest rates, right? What we've seen for interest rates.
I mean, currently I would say this week we're standing, I would say 6.5% to 7%.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of the good things that I have seen is down payment assistance programs are out there now, right? Yeah. Where before, when we saw this increase in interest rates, they pretty much just pulled out, right? And now they're making their way back, even though the rate environment is where it is. So I think from an affordability standpoint, it's from a down payment standpoint, it's at least giving us that option to help our clients who are running short on cash, right, but can still manage the payment.
Right.
So that is one opportunity. And I mean, I think if we think that the Fed, which I do believe, like in 90% certainty, they're going to come back out and increase the next 2 times. If rates do happen to do what they've done in the last, like yesterday, which was increase, right? Because we were at the 6s, right, and now we're in that mid 6.5% to 7% range. What would that look like for all of us if we're in an 8% range, 7.5% to 8% range?
I think the hardest part is just accepting the fact that you're getting an 8% interest.
Yeah.
I think ultimately at the end of the day, when you're looking for a home, you're looking for the comfort payment, the comfort level of that payment that's going to be comfortable to you. You know, whether that number, you know, be $1,500 or $3,000, the interest rate is going to determine based on the house you select, the price. And if that certain price is a little bit too high, then, you know, go down.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's just a decision that will have to be made, and not look at the interest rate, because, you know,
it's
based
payment.
on credit too, you're still getting the best interest rate that's out there based on whatever level of credit you have.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing today too is a completely different shift in the market as far as the buyer's opportunities that they're seeing today, right? I mean,
it's awesome, actually.
Yeah, we're getting more I mean, to the point that we're having to remind ourselves that if we have seller contributions, what are the max seller contributions allowed, so that we're not exceeding the amounts? Because we hadn't had to think about that before, right?
For a few years now.
I mean, before our issue was over appraised value and appraisal waivers and things like that. So now it's maximum seller contributions, which I think probably majority of our files that are coming through now have some form of seller contribution, right?
Correct.
Which has been helpful as in regards to the buying down of the interest rates.
Right.
So even though we're talking, say, 6.5% to 7%, you can still utilize seller contributions to buy down the rate to get you into the 5s. You're seeing, you know, instead of like seller sales price reductions, we're seeing them apply that more towards closing cost and or buying down of the interest rates.
Right. And I'm even seeing, even if sellers aren't providing that seller contribution, I'm still seeing buyers interested in actually buying down interest rates more often than, you know, before.
Yeah, because I think it's different now. When they were willing to pay $10,000 to $20,000 over appraised value, why not take that? I mean, same mindset, right? But apply it towards your interest rate to give you probably a better bang for your buck if you think about it, because that $10,000 to $20,000 applied to a sales price versus your rate could give you pretty close to almost a full point in reduction, which is like $300 off your payment, right, depending on sales price.
And I've had a handful of people that were in the market before they left because it was just, you know, too much going on, overbidding, and they couldn't find a home they love. They're back in the market and back in contract now, which is surprising in a way, because, you know, the common person would think, oh, rates are high, it's not the time to buy. But a few things have happened because of that. We've seen some price decreases in the homes. We've seen more inventory than we've seen in the last, since 2008,
I think so. Yeah.
So people are actually going out there and they have more choices to find their actual home they love. And that goes back to, you know, marry the home, date the rate.
Exactly.
So what we've been saying all along is that you have the option to do that. Now combined with these seller credits, it's not so bad.
No. And I think that's the thing is a lot of the news, you know, you're hearing price declines, housing crash, housing correction, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, if you're thinking about purchasing a home, that purchase is specific to you. It doesn't matter what you do with your, you know, how you look at a home buying. I look at home buying. Right. It's solely up to what you feel like and where you're at in your purchasing or in your home buying experience. And really getting with one of us to kind of go over what it looks like today for them.
And even we were talking about it this week as well, where if you make a home into your investment, housing market has always proven that it always appreciates. So we're always going to see the numbers rise. Even when we thought we had the housing crash in 2008, although tons of people were underwater at that point, those who stuck it through, that were able to just ride the wave, they eventually came back up in their home. They have equity in their home again.
Well, I'm living proof of this. We bought a house in 2004, literally the height of the market. And then everything crashed around us, the foreclosures, the short sales. But my daughter was raised, we're still in that home today. We did buy a new home, but we're still in our old home today. But she was raised in that house, right? So we have principal reduction because we paid our mortgage payment. We have equity now. We have more equity than we did the sales price today than when we originally purchased it. And we saw the landslide in value. But like you're saying, I lived in that house. I made a decision the payment was comfortable for me. We made a decision to raise our family there. And, and now we're in a position that we have equity. And when we move into our new home, we now have a good rental property where we have the ability to sell it with some appreciation. Right. So, yeah. I think it really does depend on everybody's specific scenario. Yeah. Right. And what that would look like. Some other good news as far as the loans are concerned, we have an increase in the conventional loan limit, which that was, the year before that, it was like almost $95,000 from 2021 to 2022. Now going in from 2022. So what's our current? It's 647, right? 647, 200. Correct. And we're going into 715. Yeah, that's a big jump.
That's a huge jump.
Yeah. So for buyers who are looking at or who were previously approved at that loan amount, that was probably going to be a jumbo loan.
Right.
Minimum down payment of what? 10%, 10 to 20 typically. So you can now get in at 5% down, which is about a sales price of $752,000. That brings you into a $715,000 loan amount. Yeah. And then 3% down is $737,000. And this is in effect now.
Right.
So you don't have to wait. Usually it's like beginning of the year, right?
Yeah. Now I'm surprised they pushed it so fast this year.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's because of, all the acceleration of the sales prices, although we did see a little bit of median sales price drop, but I wonder if it's a little bit of that. I mean, that was pretty aggressive for them to come out that early, although we're waiting on FHA to come out. Where do you think they'll come out?
Probably in the 500.
You think so? Oh, listen to Myra. She's throwing out a projection, 500,000.
Well, we're at 420 now.
Yeah.
So I would say they would go up to 500.
And the year before that, we were what, 340? 340 to
380.
Oh, 3. Yeah, you're right. 380 to 420.
So 40. So I would say right around 500,000.
500?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say $1. Just kidding. $1.
So price is right.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be exciting news that'll come out. Speaking of FHA, just wanted to share a program because I think this is something that's not looked at a lot because it's the FHA loan. It's the FHA Condo Approval, which we were able to get a client through using the single unit approval.
Right.
Another lender was unable to, they just only opened it up for conventional financing, but our client was only approved for FHA, from an affordability standpoint, down payment standpoint, credit standpoint, and we were able to get that client approved. It took us a little while. It took us 30 days. We had to get a couple-day extension, but we were able to get that done. So if you've got clients who are FHA financed, definitely get with Myra and myself. I feel like we are like our team is pretty versed in condo approvals. Yeah. That we know how to ask the right questions to get things through, to work with the community managers and things like that. But specific to FHA, if you do have clients that are FHA approved and they need to be in a condo price range, reach out to Myra and myself. We can help walk through getting their single unit approval done.
Everything will help.
Everything. Yeah. All of the different things. All right. What else do we got? I know we brought up something about Wells Fargo.
We did. So I was reading an article that says they are actually pulling from their mortgage department. So we've seen several companies just completely close out their mortgage lending department. Wells Fargo did say, like others in the industry, we're evaluating the size of our mortgage business to adapt to a dramatically smaller origination market. So that just means, during the peak season, they had tons of loan officers. And now they're just downsizing because the demand is just not there.
And we're seeing that across the board and with different lenders. But Wells Fargo is also like they are a correspondent, meaning that they could be an investor for, say, like us as a mortgage company, right? So they also have their loan officers that sit inside of a branch. And I think they're trying to stay with those loan officers that are more in the retail space.
Correct.
Versus like us being on an investor side of it, just to reduce risk. But also I think it's to help to build up their current portfolio for Wells Fargo staff. So that's interesting to hear that they're going to be doing that. Something else I wanted to throw out there. So we talked a little bit about student loan debt. So that is, the window is opening October 1st, right? And so we'll put that in the description on how you can actually apply for it. But one thing that I was reading, it looks like here in Nevada, there's actually 315,000 people that are eligible for just for the $10,000 student relief debt. Yes. That's different then there's 216,000 people who have eligibility to get the Pell Grant. What do we call it? Relieved to get the relief for the Pell Grants, which is the $20,000. And that's in the whole state of Nevada. So I mean, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's good. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is to take advantage of that, because if you can reduce even $10,000 or say $20,000 or $30,000 combined, I mean, that's $50 if it's $10,000, it's about $50 on a mortgage payment, right?
Right.
Which that equates to about $25,000 to $30,000 in a sales price. So if you're able to get that done, there's going to be a link there. I think it's just like, studentaid.gov/debt relief. You submit the application, and you can take advantage of $10,000 for the financial or for the student loans, and then $20,000 if it was a Pell Grant. Yeah, haven't seen anybody do that, but it is likely if you get in beginning of October that it could actually happen by the end of the year, is what they're saying, right?
Yeah, so probably we'll have information updated once we're in October and everything comes out.
Yeah, once we start seeing that stuff. But there are a lot of people in Nevada that can take advantage of this. And so if you're hearing this and you know people who have student loans, make sure you share this information to them. Again, we're going to post that in the description below. And then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Something I wanted to share also. So remember back in June, they had the tax cap, that whole hoopla that here in Clark County, everybody's going to 8%. Okay, so as we were going through that, I remember vividly being on a call with us on our huddle, and I'm like, yeah, can you believe that? Let me just check my own property. I'm like, holy cow, my property is getting adjusted. I'm like, wait a second. So I, just like most of our consumers, missed the memo that said, hey, oh, by the way, we're going to increase your tax rate. It's going up to 8%. But it was easy for me to actually change it, although I heard that they were behind. So I submitted that, what was that, July 1st that they did it, or June 1st?
It was July, I believe, because I believe the cutoff was June 30th, wasn't it?
Yes, you're right. So July 1st, I submitted that. And then by middle of August, I got notification that they're going to remove it. And then I finally got the tax statement that said they revised it.
Oh, they did say it. We mentioned in our episode that they were going to send the revised statement by October. And if for some reason it doesn't come by October, then expect it by the end of October.
Yeah, so they were right on point with that. Yeah, so I've got mine. If you guys haven't, first, if you have no idea what we're talking about, please reach out to Myra and myself, because if you own a home today and it's your primary residence, you want to make sure that your tax rate is at 3%. And if it's higher than that, we can help you at least work through that to figure out what it is and how to fix that.
Right.
What else? Oh, homestead. That was one other thing I wanted to talk about with Raquel. So I had a client the other day ask about the homestead. What is it? What applying for a homestead is? Do you know what that is? The declaration?
Yes.
Do you have that on your house today?
I don't. Actually.
You don't?
I don't.
Myra Talley?
The funny thing is, when I bought my home, I didn't know what it was.
What a horrible loan officer that what is it?
What a horrible loan officer.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a protection against, honestly, if something should happen from a lawsuit, a lien, a
creditor, right?
Yep, bankruptcy even. So unpaid medical bills, It's up to $605,000 in equity on your property. So not loan amount, but if you have $605,000 in equity and you have a homestead, it will protect you against general creditor claims. So your unpaid medical bills, bankruptcy, credit card charge-offs, business and personal loans, and then like if you get an accident settlement, they can't come after you on your they can't come after the equity on your property. And what does it normally cost? Like,
I think it's like $25.
Yeah. So when you close on your home, you're going to get a slew of mail. Yeah. And in there's going to be one little card that says, oh, by the way, apply for your homestead. And it's like, which is $25, right?
Right. Because there's so many companies that send these letters saying that they'll do it for you. And those, they have a higher fee. It's like $70, $80.
Yes.
But if you just do it directly through Clark County assessors, is it assessors or recorder? Clark County recorder, right?
It's assessors.
Assessors. Yeah. Then you just submit the paper directly to them, and then they just charge you the recording fee of like $25.
Yeah, if you're not looking at doing a trust, you're not looking to do a will, at a minimum, if this is your primary residence, I would say it's important for you to do. Like, you definitely want to look to put that on your home, especially if it's primary residence, because you just never know.
Right.
Especially in our current environment, you just never know, and it's one way to just protect your assets. Sorry, just throwing that out there. All right. What else do we have? What about the, we had a great history making event that happened this week.
We had an awesome event happen this week.
Are we talking about the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
WNBA.
Yes. How exciting is that?
That's so awesome. They actually came to Vegas for the first time in 2018. And the first time they played was during the COVID. Like, in COVID, they played in the COVID bubble in Florida. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
So it's kind of neat that then they started playing here. They went to the championships a few times, didn't make it, but this year we finally won, and it's our first
professional.
Win. Yeah, I know. Professional win in Vegas.
Not to downplay this, but I did think it was going to be the Golden Knights, but whatever, we're way past that today. But yeah, that is super. I didn't, just even in thinking about it, because everybody knows who the Aces are, and obviously the Raiders, but the magnitude of that for us, and they're women, right? Yeah. Like, there's so many different reasons why that's exciting.
One of them, I don't know if you saw it, but one of them announced that she was pregnant.
What?
So that big old parade that we had here in Vegas, they were like interviewing them, and one of them was like, oh, by the way, I also want to announce my pregnancy. So it's kind of so cool that she played through all of this while pregnant. It's like, superpowers.
So could you do that?
No.
I was like, wonder how far along she was,
on the because sidelines.
I'd be like, morning, what do they call it? Morning sickness or whatever.
Yeah.
Give me some ice cream or something like that. Yeah, I thought it was. So I also thought it was interesting because I didn't realize that Mark Davis bought them last year.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I found out earlier this week. But
right.
I had no idea.
Right. So I saw him at the game. I'm like, that's random that he had. I mean, that's good that he's supporting the Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Valley, but
the Vegas Valley too showed their support.
Totally.
Like, closed down a portion of the Las Vegas Strip and just had a big old parade, and the sign, the Welcome to Las Vegas sign, even said had a message for them. Yep. And it's awesome to experience that, because growing up here, I'm born and raised in Las Vegas. You saw that on TV. You never saw it in your own hometown. So now that we have teams, it's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll hopefully be able to see that for the Knights this season. I think the Raiders,
they're a few seasons away.
We're not going to talk about the Raiders. It was a really rough game last week, but it is cool to have the professional aspect in here. And then, of course, congratulations to the Las Vegas Aces. If you're listening, watching, whatever the case may be. Yeah, we love and support you guys.
Awesome.
Yes. All right. Well, that's all that I have. Anything else we have on the list that I missed?
No, not that I think we covered everything we wanted to.
Yeah, perfect. Well, make sure that if you like this information, make sure that you subscribe, put a thumbs up, click the notification button, and also share this. If there's some value in here that you see that maybe your friends or family can take advantage of, please feel free to share this information. Comment below if there's anything that you'd like for us to talk about. Again, it's Live, Laugh, Loans, anything regarding Las Vegas, loans, real estate, whatever it may be. And with that, we'll wrap it up, and that's a wrap. We'll see you next week.
One.